Next set of information that we're going to manage in ArchiCAD are the essentially attributes known as classifications. Now, every element in ArchiCAD, every model element has a classification. This is under the, well, here we're under the segment classification. So you can actually, on beams and columns, you can define subsections, but the overall beam under classifications and properties here is defined as a beam. Your project may have multiple classification systems, but the current classification system mapped in our IFC translators is V2.0. So essentially what a classification means is that in the world of BIM, this is defined as a beam because it's called a beam here. I could easily define it as a member if it's part of a larger assembly of content, coverings, plates, ramps, shells, etc. So most of the classification systems are going to be under construction elements, and they should for the most part be self-explanatory, like a wall is a wall, for example. If I look at my wall settings here, so this wall is a wall in ArchiCAD because it was modeled using the wall tool. In the world of BIM, sending this file to say a Revit user, for example, saving an IFC and sending it to a Revit user, if this remains unclassified, that element comes into Revit as generic model or generic massing or whatever the family is that it assigns by their translator. So we can say that this is a wall in ArchiCAD, export that as a wall to an IFC format, which is sort of the agnostic BIM format. It's not platform specific. SketchUp, ArchiCAD, Revit, Bentley can all read and write IFC files. But defining this classification, first and foremost, is what gives that element that designation, that this is a wall. It's not part of the covering package. This has been particularly critical if we look at slabs, for example. This slab right here is the structural floor slab for the project, so I want that to be called a slab. If I used a slab to model the kitchen island in here, for example, that slab needs to have a different designation. We want to make sure that the contractor or whoever is looking at the IFC model isn't quantifying this as part of our slab package, especially if it's something like concrete. So giving it an element ID first and foremost is going to be critical. And then cabinets and things like that, we can classify those as a covering. Basically anything finished level, cabinets, casework, millwork, things like that, are all considered coverings, trim and siding, etc. But that designates this piece of slab as being uniquely a covering or something other than part of the slab package. Regardless of what the building material or anything else is, regardless of what the layer is, designating that as a slab, or sorry, as a covering versus a slab in the classification is what defines that as a slab in our information package.